Hey YouTube, today I am going to make two soups and they're both to me comforting soups. I'm having a kind of stressful day today. I have a family member who is having surgery today, quite a serious surgery, and I will update you on what happens in a future video, but right now I think comfort food would be great. So and prayer. So I'm going to make a Mexican comfort food soup, which is oxtail soup, and then I'm going to make my own version of a creamy chicken warm kind of white people comfort soup, if you'll excuse the not sure if I'm politically correct, but it's kind of how I look at it. I want to say a Caucasian soup. It's something that I enjoy, and I'm sure any nationality will enjoy either one, but I'm going to make both of them. My son isn't crazy about oxtail soup, and he loves chicken soup, so I'll be making both. So let me get all my things organized, and then I will set up my video and show you how I make them. And of course I'll list the recipes and all my ingredients in my description. Alright, see you in a bit. Thing here for both soups, I hope. I've got my pepper and salt. I baked the chicken the night before last, so I had the chicken in the refrigerator, which I chopped up, some of the chicken. There's bay leaves. You'll see what the eggs are for in a little bit. Some garlic, potatoes, chayote squash, and Mexican squash, and there's some corn down there, and there's a couple serrano chilies. This is leftover mashed potatoes and cauliflower and carrots from an onion from baking the chicken. This is carrots, cabbage, and gravy, chicken gravy, which came out really good the other night. So this is all going to be added to the two different soups, and I think this is called calabacita. I'm pretty sure, the Mexican squash, and I'll make sure in the description that I get it right. So we're gonna start, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a tablespoon or so of my trusty coconut oil into my large pan, which, as you can see, it's on really high. Not really high, but it's been sitting there, so it's smoking. So just take it off and let it smoke away. Nothing bad is gonna happen. Then I took about a tablespoon, put it in a smaller pan, because the chicken soup is gonna go in a smaller pan, so I'm not gonna make as much. This soup likes we like to have a lot of broth. I'm going to turn this high for a minute, because otherwise my kitchen is going to have a lot of smoke. So, hurry up and get mine. Sorry, I'm trying to rush around. Take a couple pieces of my onion. Oops, he's still in the freezer. Put it into the trusty towel. And let's see. Now I'm going to put the rest of the onion and the chicken. Just let it start simmering. People are going to go, why the heck didn't you just wash it? Well, I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to make it, so I'm all out of celery, so I'm going to use celery seeds, because it just adds a dimension to the soup. I don't want to put the garlic in yet because if it burns, it will be bitter. So we'll wait and add that later. I'm going to put some of the celery into the chicken one too. How you guys doing? Garlic on this one. We don't want to add it right now. This is a bitter. So what I'm going to add right now, let me put a couple bay leaves in that. So I always rinse them off. I don't know if you have to put them in my chicken. I'm not sure if that's something you really have to do, but I do it. And now my chicken. Doesn't need to brown really because the chicken's already cooked. But mix it on. The more brown it gets, the more good flavor it's going to get to the soup. I don't want to smoke hot. Everybody's apart, and it'll be nice and brown. And I did put a little skin from the chicken in here because it adds a little bit of extra flavor to the soup. Not a lot. You don't want it to be juicy, fatty, but just a little bit for the flavor. Now I'm going to add some pepper. My family really likes pepper, which is good because it's good for you. I'm going to put at least a tablespoon. And I will taste it when it's using this for my water. We don't use our sink water here. So I'm not going to film that part when I pour the water in because it could be quite disastrous. Hopefully not, but it's really heavy. I think in the chicken I'll just use the regular small bottles. So I added the water. Let me tell you, it was not easy. So here is what it looks like. It has the water, the oxtails, the onions, the basil, salt and pepper right now. And this is obviously going to take a lot longer to cook than the chicken. But I'm going to turn this one up to a little higher than medium-high so I can start getting it on a boil. This one is pretty good done fine. And now I'm going to show you what I add to it. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I am going to add mashed potatoes from the other night, the little baby carrots that are already cooked, some cauliflower, and some onion. What it looks like so far. The potatoes are going to add a creaminess to it. It's going to be very good. I am going to add the gravy, which I think I have to stop action. I'm not sure like that. But it will. The gravy, of course, is, you know how gravy gets when it's been sitting in the refrigerator. So you gotta give it a chance to get kind of melted down. And that's how the beef goes. I'm gonna add some water, obviously, otherwise it would be too thick. Don't fill it all the way up because I'm going to be adding some veggies. I'll turn that off. I hope you've been able to hear me. Turn it a little bit higher. See outside, it's a yucky, kind of yucky day. Good day to have comfort soup. Of course, all the things that are going on in my life, comfort soup sounds comforting. It's starting to look like soup. That onion will break down. That was from when I baked the chicken. Now on this guy, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and add the carrots. You could wait until later, but I'm going to add them now. And I'll wait on the cabbage. And we can do the garlic. I am adding a good heaping teaspoon. That's probably like a tablespoon and a half of garlic, and not quite as much to the chicken, but the smaller. Stir it around. Garlic's really good for you. I'm sure you knew that. The reason I put the carrots in, they do take a little while to cook, but the oxtail's gonna have to simmer for at least an hour to an hour and a half, because it has to get really tender so that it's falling off the bone. That's the way it tastes good. soon as this starts to get kind of warm, or kind of hot, I'll show you what I'm going to do with the eggs. Okay, so the oxtail soup is almost ready to start boiling. Ooh, that's hot. It's almost ready to boil. And the chicken soup is very hot. I don't want it to boil because there's milk in the gravy and you don't want your milk to scald. So you just want it to heat it up until it's pretty hot. And if you don't have chicken gravy, you can buy a canned chicken gravy or bottled chicken gravy. It's best to use homemade chicken gravy if you have it. So if you baked the chicken and made gravy, this is a great soup to make the next day or the day after that. So I'm going to show you what I do with the eggs. Sorry, that was kind of ugly. As long as you don't get any shells, that's what counts. I do usually do that better, but here's the eggs. Beat them up, beat them up. We're going to use something called tempering, which I'm sure you've probably heard of. You don't want your eggs, when you're going to put eggs into something hot, you don't want your eggs to scramble, because that's not very tasty. It doesn't taste bad so much, but the texture is kind of disgusting. It's like having scrambled eggs in your soup. So the soup is hot, as you can see the steam. So we're just going to take a little bit of the soup at a time, and we're going to feed it into the eggs. It's boiling. You do your cooking thing, oxtails. Yeah, on the oxtails, we're not going to put the potatoes, the squash, and the corn in until more close towards the end because they all cook pretty quickly, and the cabbage too. Maybe one more scoop will do it. As you can see, the eggs are not scrambled. See if I can do this one. Yes, I'm making a mess. The eggs are going to add the super rich, yummy flavor to the soup. We're going to cook this one on low. I'm going to add just a handful of the potatoes to the chicken soup. And I don't think, maybe a couple pieces of squash. Those are going to be more for the oxtail soup, which is bubbling away. So we're just going to let this one sit. And it's so thick and creamy and yummy. I'm not gonna add noodles or anything like that to it, or rice, because it doesn't really need it. You can always add more chopped up vegetables if you want a more vegetable-y soup. And taste it for salt and pepper. Oh, it is so good. Yum. I'm not kidding. Okay, so this one's boiling away, so I'll be back to add the veggies when it gets closer to being done. So as you can see, my oxtail soup is boiling away. It's been boiling like this on a high boil for about probably 20 minutes. So I'm gonna turn it down to more of a high simmer so that the meat has a chance to cook, but the carrots don't just turn into mush. And this is the chicken. It looks so good and creamy. The vegetables still have to cook in it, so I'm just gonna let it sit on simmer. Not even simmer, it's kind of like a low simmer, so that they're done about the same time. And yummy, gotta taste it. Oh my gosh, it is so good. The eggs add the richness to it. I don't know how to explain it, but as you can see, since we tempered it, the eggs, they did not turn into scrambled eggs, so it doesn't have any kind of a weird texture in it or anything. So pretty soon after this simmers on a low simmer for about another half an hour, we'll add the other veggies. Still soup is looking yummy, and has a while to go, but I'm gonna go ahead and add the veggies. It's been cooking over here for about 20 more minutes, but woo, steamy. I would normally wait probably about another half an hour, but I have someone that's going to be very hungry soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the veggies so they have a chance to cook with the little potatoes. Here goes the squash. Whoa. Serranos and the corn. Get in there, squashy. Push everybody down in there. In a little while you could taste it for salt. And you can add a little more. I think I'm going to add another bottle of water because like I said earlier, I like a lot of broth. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit so it has a chance to cook a little faster. Chicken soup is doing good, just quietly, barely cooking over here. I took one of the babies out and I'm seeing if I can find where another one was, because it's not really that pleasant when you're eating your soup to find a baby. It won't hurt you or anything, but there it is. Go in the sink, little baby. So I don't think there's any more in there. Anyway, the veggies are getting soft, the onions, potatoes are cooking. Just really, really yummy. I keep tasting that one. It's the finished product of the chicken soup. So I wanted to add that the creamy chicken soup can be served with garlic bread and a nice green salad, and the oxtail soup, of course, usually is served with corn tortillas, and you could also have a salad with it. Yeah, I'm making a movie here. And here is the oxtail soup. Yum. And I wanted to add, the oxtail soup is not from an ox. I'm sure you know that, but for some of you who might not, the oxtail soup is just a cow tail, not an oxtail. But how it retained that name, I'm not sure. Probably from back in the old days. But it's a delicious soup, and for someone that's never tried it, don't be intimidated by it. It is so delicious. I used to be able to get oxtail in the grocery store for not a whole lot, and then people discovered how good it was, and now it's quite expensive to buy the oxtail. So I looked up comfort food just out of curiosity, and it says, according to Wikipedia, that the phrase comfort food is traced back to 1966 when I think it was the Palm Beach Post, I'll make sure I put that in my description, coined the phrase as being a food that adults under a lot of stress turn to help them feel comfort, like mother's poached eggs or homemade chicken soup. So I suppose that's makes sense that you would go to something from your childhood to comfort you, which I definitely think this chicken soup is comforting, creamy and yummy, and the oxtail soups too would be comforting to a lot of kids that grew up eating oxtail soup made by their moms. So I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit to throw in.